folks at home, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever been really excited for a bait to come out and then you got it and you can't wait to take it fishing? Today I'm talking about one of those baits that got me, the Sense Fishing Panorama. So we're gonna head underwater, we're gonna check this thing out, see how awesome it is. Let's open this panorama up and see what we got. So we got two sizes here. I got the sizes that I thought I would use the most. Here we have the Panorama 5.0 and we have it here in another color. The first thing that I noticed when I open up this box is, number one, these baits are big, but they are very, very, very skinny baits, right? Super detailed, good, nice, clean pores. They look really, really, really good. They've got those eyes coming out like that, but they're super narrow in profile, right? So there's the 5.0 in my hand. Let's look at this 6.5 here. It's a pretty sizable bait. So we open it up here, got a nice gizzard profile on it. Looks great. Got those big offset eyes to give it kind of a pop, but it is a very, very, very narrow bait. So that's gonna determine the way that we are gonna rig this bait. It's gonna have a nice slow gliding action, I bet, maybe some good twitches on it. That's a big chunk of a bait though. So let's compare that 6.5 and that 5.0 right there are very, very different size baits, right? Very big this way, not so much. Interesting, great pour though, very, very realistic.
All right guys, so the first thing I did when I got this bait is throw it on an extra wide gap hook with a screw lock on the front. This is a 5.0 extra wide gap hook, biggest hook I had with me today. Works pretty good. I wanted to see how this 6-inch bait just fell in the water. And you can see right here, it's got a very wide, wandering, darting action, but it's got a very subtle fall. Light rod twitches are going to make that tail explode. This bait I feel like is going to excel on a Carolina rig. It's going to excel weightless around docks and structure as kind of a quasi fluke style bait. Now the 6.5 is a big bait for the waters that I fish. This bait comes in 4 different size options from 2.8 all the way up to 9. A 9-inch bait is going to be a very large bait, and it's a big bass hunter. This bait was designed to be a forward-facing bait, but there's a lot of applications that you can fish and do different things with it. So here it is on that extra wide gap hook, kind of twitched like a fluke in and around cover. Remember when you're fishing big baits that it's sometimes about drawing power, and I feel like a 6.5-inch bait here twitched through lily pads around dock pilings, around weed beds is really going to generate a bigger bite. It's got a nice wandering action, as you can see, and really a lot of times simple is better, especially with baits like this. This is a major profile bait, or in terms of profile, I mean this bait is a visual bait. You want to throw this when the water is clear. Fish are feeding on gizzard shad. All of our lakes up here in the north generally tend to have gizzard shad, and they generally tend to school up in the shallows. Next, I wanted to try it on a weighted approach, so I went to the 5-inch size. Here in the sunfish color, I really like the neon green tail. I threw it onto a 5.0 hook here with a 1/2 ounce swinging jig head on it, and really it looks good. It looks like an injured bluegill, but I'm really going to be interested on how this bait fishes up in these sand spots and rocky areas. And the thing that you want to notice about this is it has a positive buoyancy. That tail is floating up, And basically what this is going to allow you to do is drag it around, and it's going to look like a sunfish feeding on the bottom. It's going to also have that positive buoyancy effect, which is a good thing when you're fishing a bottom contact bait. You want that bait to float up. If fishing a Ned rig has taught us anything, it's that a positive buoyancy bait is going to get you a lot more bites. You can see that tail floating up, holding that hook hanger up right there. That's vital in terms of getting bites on bigger baits on the bottom like this. I'm really interested to see how fish are going to hit this bait. I feel like when they hit a minnow style bait or a fish profile style bait, they tend to hit it on the head. So that hook midline right there in that fish, I feel like is going to be a great hookup ratio, and it's going to do a lot for that bite. This 5-inch bait doesn't feel like a 5-inch bait because it's so skinny. It's got a nice profile on it. Here is that 6.5 on a Strike King Mag shaky head. This is a big shaky head, and I really enjoy the way that this comes through cover and the way that this kind of slides through stuff. I feel like this bait almost can be a bait that you can skip up under docks and pitch into weed beds and get bites, because I feel like it comes through a lot of stuff equally well. And the fact that a 6.5-inch bait has such a subtle kicking action on it, it's going to look like a gizzard shad dying on the bottom. Pike are going to blow up this bait, bass are going to blow up this bait, muskie are going to blow up this bait. It's very versatile rigged this way. It's got a nice glide on it. I'm really excited to throw this out deep, but also up shallow into these kind of grass bed areas, into these flats. You can kind of tickle wind it and swim it. This is what it was made to do, to be a forward facing sonar bait, but you can see it has a nice rippling action there. It has a nice glide on the fall. Just a really, really cool, different style of bait that fish really have not seen a lot of, and you can do a lot of different things with it. We love baits that you can be different with on the channel. This is one. Sliding this through weed beds is really going to be to your advantage. It's going to allow you to target fish in a way that they're not used to being seen. But here's where I think the bait is going to absolutely shine. This bait with its positive buoyancy on a drop shot is going to be an absolute killer. And I feel like this is going to be an excellent target bait drop shot, meaning flipping it up against seawalls, around dock pilings, floating docks, vertical trees in the water, brush piles down deep. If you can get this into that brush pile and you can keep it in the general area, it's going to do great. The one thing that I have noticed about this bait watching it underwater is that positive buoyancy on a drop shot. What that's going to allow you to do is really shake it in place and hold it in one place, but also it's going to affect the way that it comes through cover. If you get this thing caught in cover and you pause it, it's going to float up to the end of its leash. Right, it's going to float up and out of things instead of snagging them, which is like fishing a crankbait, right? So you can throw this into a lot of areas. If you've watched the channel at all, you know that I love to fish vertical weeds with the drop shot. This is a very good bait to do that with. It's a very profile heavy bait. It's going to be a clear water bait for sure. It's going to be a big fish bait for sure, but it has that positive buoyancy, which is going to allow me to fish it in a lot of different areas. Also, the clarity on these baits, the see-through nature of these baits are excellent. This is the Pro Blue color right here, one of my favorites. And it looks really, really good on this drop shot. It's really responsive to light rod taps and touches. It's going to swim through areas very, very good. It's very profile heavy, and the 5-inch doesn't feel overpowering in this situation. It feels like fishing a normal size worm. It's got a big vertical profile, but the horizontal profile on the drop shot is going to allow fish to really inhale that bait and collapse it. Once again, when you're fishing a fish profile style bait, the fish tend to hit the head of it, so I can fish it on a drop shot hook as a 5-inch bait there and not worry about hookup ratio. That bait's going to fold up nicely when a bass hits it. I'm really, really not worried about the hookup ratio on this bait, and it looks really clean underwater.
So guys, I am super excited about this bait, especially on a drop shot and that hard head. I feel like it's going to do a great job. It's got some natural buoyancy in the tail. It's got a great action. It's super narrow. Only time's gonna tell with these. I feel like rigging these and fishing them in the correct situations is going to be key. If you guys are interested in grabbing some of these baits, hit the link in our description, get some. They are hard to come by right now because they're a hot bait. We're gonna fish this bait thoroughly. We're gonna give it a full review, you know, fishing it, doing different things. I know for sure I'm gonna catch this on a drop shot and above a shot for sure. I'm interested in it as a trailer on a chatterbait, maybe a naked rage blade. A lot of different things that you can do with this. If you guys like what's going on the channel, hit the links in our bio. go to Omnia, support us there, support us. You can become a member of the channel. Just let us help you catch more fish, and we'll see you out there, guys.